What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Renaissance with G and J. A quick reaction. Floyd just did an interview with ESPN, like LeBron James, since he has his own cachet, since he has his own platform, since he can generate views without attaching himself to a big sports network. We don't see him on there a lot, and they have like contractual beefs as promotional entities in other aspects tied to the sport of boxing and personal stuff. But I like this interview a lot because it brought back something I really credited Floyd with, is telling the truth and bringing a lot of attention to a lot of the minute boxing politics and the biases that keeps the fans from seeing the fights they want. I talk to people on the street all the time about boxing, and I hear rumors. I hear what people want to see. I hear accusations. I live in the city of Cincinnati, which is in Ohio. One of the biggest rumors that goes around is that Sugar Ray Leonard was scared to fight Aaron Pryor, and that's why they didn't fight. If I'm just talking to black people within the community, or especially people outside the community, white, Latino, and we're talking about the best fighter of all time, which will bring up Floyd Mayweather. They're gonna say he was a cherry picker. He didn't fight this guy. He didn't fight that guy. That's all untrue. That's all untrue. That's what I'm trying to tell people. The reason I really like Floyd, now, Floyd cannot be my accountant. Floyd cannot be my politician. He cannot be a judge, jury, or police officer. I'm not going to trust him with something that important. I'm going to trust him with boxing. I'm going to trust him with boxing. And I grew up, and Jay grew up around the time we were watching boxing in the 90s. Who was hot? Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya. They were the biggest draws at the gate and on TV. Why is that? Why is that? Was it because they fought the best people and they proved they were the best? Not all of the time. It's because someone told us that. Because my dad or someone told us that, then we watched him on TV and said he looked good. If I put Arturo Gatti in the ring right now with my cousin, he gonna mop him, and I'm gonna say he's the best of all time. And most people watching that will say he's the best of all time. If I put Roy Jones Jr. in there with somebody that can barely walk straight, barely keep their hands up, look like they've been boxing, and it was a firefighter on the side, he's gonna mop him up. Not to say that happened with Roy Jones Jr., but that things like that happen. Things like that happen. Floyd started his career under the same promotional company as Oscar De La Hoya. That is Top Rank Promotions under Bob Arum. They were fighting at the same exact time. I think Floyd is only about 4 years younger than Oscar De La Hoya, and was in the Olympics, I believe, the Olympics right after De La Hoya's Olympics, or the next Olympics. They were back to back almost. If you look at Floyd's early fights, his championship fights, he's a young kid fighting Chico Hernandez. He's fighting Angel Manfredi. He's fighting Diego Corrales, who's 6 feet tall and weighs 130 pounds and knocking out everything breathing with fast twitch reflexes, boxing ability, a decent chin, good work rate, on the pound for pound list at the time. This is a young kid, maybe 23, under 25 years old, fighting a guy like that. You did not hear anything about Floyd around that period. You don't know when that happened. You have to look it up on BoxRec. You know what you did hear about? You heard about Oscar De La Hoya fighting Ike Corte, or old ass Julio Cesar Chavez 2 times in a row. You heard about Roy Jones. I don't even know who you heard about Roy Jones Jr. fought. I don't know who he fought when I was watching him back in the day. I had to look that back up and watch old tapes of him fighting Bernard Hopkins, Vinny Pazienza. You saw Mike Tyson just fighting anybody. The dudes he beat to get his undisputed heavyweight championship in the world, Trevor Berbick, Leon Spinks, I think it was Leon Spinks, it was one of the Spinks, had no business winning a heavyweight championship when what's the kid? Evander Holyfield was around cleaning up, when Lennox Lewis was around cleaning up, when any of them champions that Iron Mike Tyson got his championship from have even lasted half a fight with Lennox Lewis or Evander Holyfield? No, they were not. Nothing against Iron Mike Tyson because he ran through him. But we built a lot of their legacies off what somebody told us these dudes were really good at. And then when they got in the ring with someone on their level, things didn't turn out the same way. Guess who's one of the only people that did happen for every single time. He went in the ring and did exactly what he was projected to do, Floyd Mayweather. And so I'm looking at it and was like, why didn't I know about him? And that's why we're doing a follow-up to this interview, is because he started explaining the reasons why what I am saying came to play. Why didn't we see Floyd Mayweather early in his career? Why wasn't he on the pound for pound list? Because of business. Because of business. You have Bob Arum, and nothing against him for this. Nothing against him for this. You have Bob Arum. What's up?
I mean, you about to take all the points as possible, my man.
You about to do the interview. You about to do the interview. I'm just going over the history of what the hell been going on. This is crazy.
Parts of that too. I got parts of that too. I mean,
go ahead.
Basically, we agreeing with each other. But basically, what I was gonna say is, this is. I feel like, well, okay. I'm gonna say two things and kind of go down them, but all right. So I feel like Floyd really, really prepared himself for this particular interview, because what he was saying, his rhetorics, how he was saying what he was saying, was more concise than usual. Now, I'll say that might be because of preparation, but also that's because of mindset. He's in fight mindset right now, being in camp with Tank and, being a direct part of the fight camp. So that might be, fueling that as well. But it just feels like he really knew what he wanted to say in this interview, more so than any other interview that I've ever seen, where he's gotten straight to the point. He was not long-winded. And this is what I mean. Please retort it in a educated way, and then we'll go to the next point. And I just never really seen him argue like that. And it's good to see him do that on a much larger scale. Usually when he does something close to that, it'll be on something like Fight Hype, where it's not it is national or international, but not everybody sees it. So that was interesting. But it's funny seeing him go directly at Max, because usually he tries to keep it kind of standoffish. But I like how he went straight at them, straight at the bias, and was like, well, prove me wrong then. Say I'm wrong. So
they can't prove him wrong. He don't want to hear them prove him wrong. He want them to shut up and stop doing this nonsense. Going back to the history of what they've been doing. There was Don King back in the day. There were a whole bunch of other people, Lou Duva and the Goosens and all these other people that promoted, and nobody knew any of them. All you knew was Don King and top rank Bob Arum, who's been promoting since Ali was probably a kid. But basically what they do is a promoter wants profit. So we are going to put money into reserving a venue. So we have to pay them for the venue. I have to pay them. We have to help pay these employees that are going to be working the concessions and everything else. We got to bring a ring in. You have to pay the people that are bringing that stuff in, clean up. You have to promote on TV. So you have to pay networks. You have to pay directors. I mean, there's a whole lot of people get paid when you promote. There's a lot of money that goes into that. It's just like a person getting a record deal. We have to help make your CD. We have to distribute your CD. We have to do promotion for your CD. And all we got to do is get you in the room and start repeating words. So the company is saying, we spend all the money. We got to get this money back before we pay you. That's the same thing a promoter is doing. They're saying, how do I know I'm going to get a return on my investment? Are you marketable already? Without fighting, are you marketable? Oscar De La Hoya is almost 6 feet tall, Latino American, baby face, and that talks well and can sing, and won a gold medal before his first fight, for his gold medal in shape. And then you're going to knock people out. Oh, you're marketable. You're marketable. When Latinos are, you know what? Anyone outside the United States, when they fight, their country is going to be behind them because they're a representation of them. They're almost their mascot. We have cities and we have states and we have capitals in the United States. So there's a lot of things we can align ourselves with. We're not going to, as a country, align ourselves with every American fighter. We want to see certain attributes in them. We have so many different sports. But when you have a Mexican fighter coming over here from Mexico and they're fighting an American, all of Mexico just supporting the Mexican. Nothing against that. It's tribalism. It's just nationalism. It's just supporting your home team. So if you can have a country behind you, check 1. If you look good, check 2. You speak well, check 3. You knock people out, sold. Mike Tyson looked good. Then the bad image came in. That's selling even more. We want to see you knock people out, and we want to hate you, and we're hating on you. Then you got Roy Jones, just super flashy, but didn't sell as much as Floyd Mayweather. So you have a company intentionally holding back Floyd because they don't want him to take attention from Oscar De La Hoya. And then they make up lies. So if you're watching ESP, are you watching Top Rank announcers? Or if you're watching any promotion on the fight with Oscar De La Hoya, they're not going to mention his losses. They're not going to mention the people that he lost against. If he had 10 championship fights and he lost 9 of those, but those fighters were great, they're going to say he was in 10 championship fights, was great fighters. They're going to say he lost 9 times. Because they're trying to hide his flaws and they're trying to promote the things he's good at so they can get a return on their investment. They have always done that. Floyd didn't get that treatment. So if you don't get the special treatment, what do you have to do? You have to prove yourself. So you're more than likely going to have to fight tougher competition. They're not going to hide you. They're going to bring up, if you got to move up in weight class, they're going to make you earn it. So you move up in weight class, you can't fight someone that just has a belt. You have to fight someone that has a belt and a name, in the pedigree. If you're Oscar De La Hoya and you're moving up to maybe 154 pounds, you're going to fight somebody like Castillejo. Do you know that name? No, you don't know that name. You're going to fight somebody like Felix Sturm when you move to middleweight. Do you know that person? No, don't nobody know who Felix Sturm is. No one knows that. When you Floyd Mayweather, you move up to 135, you got to fight Jose Luis Castillo. When you move up to 147, you got to fight Zav Judah and Carlos Baldomir. Anyone to fight, have you fight some other people. And what they're going to do to protect their fighter, if you have to compare resumes at the time, and I still have to protect my investment, I'm going to use that same trick I did before, where I hide their flaws and I promote the things that they're good at. If I have to compare Manny Pacquiao to Floyd at 147 pounds, what they're going to say is that Pacquiao fought everybody, but he lost. But he fought everybody. You look at Floyd and say, he beat everybody. What are they going to say? Who did he fight? Stark contrast. And this has happened to Floyd his whole entire career. So when I started watching him, I liked him immediately because he would talk about these things. And guess what that actually lends itself to as well? It lends to money. If you've been working hard all your life, if you went to college and you went to Clark Atlanta, we went to Clark Atlanta, and a guy went to a predominantly white school, PWI, and we get the same grades, and then we go to office, we go somewhere to get a job, and they give this person $80,000 and they give me $70,000. I'm gonna say why? They're gonna say because your resume isn't as good. Well, my resume says I got the same credentials as this guy. You went to a different school. You didn't go to the same, you didn't fight the same fighter he fought. I can actually have a weighted GPA of 4.5, and this guy can have a 3.0. He did not live up to his expectations. He didn't get to the level I got to, but they're still going to try to hold that against me. That's what they're trying to do with Floyd. Floyd can fight people and dominate them, and Pacquiao can fight people and lose or have close fights. And then they're going to try to build up Pacquiao's competition to make it seem like he's a better fighter. To seem like he's a better fighter. There is almost nothing that Floyd can do to prove he's the best. He can be undefeated. He can beat all the same fighters. He can ask for all the same fighters. They're still going to find a way around it. They will find a loophole around it. He has always stood by that his entire career. And then you get to these interviews. And they start the same crap, Jay. They start the same crap. You get on there and they start with the questions about Gervonta Davis, and they say, fight the real dudes. Remember I just said, he's been knocking out everybody. He's like 24-0 with 23 knockouts. I don't know percentage. That's close to 99%, probably 95% knockout ratio. Then they're gonna start talking about his opponents. How can you win, man? How can you win? That's what's going on with the Gervonta Tank Davis situation. You have a fighter that's on the same level. Who are the top dudes at 135?
Mm, so you got shit. I don't even really know outside of you got
Garcia. So
Garcia. Well, he's falling back and forth, but yeah, Garcia,
you got Ryan
Banks.
Garcia,
Yeah. Then you got what's my man, young boy,
Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney.
Devin Haney,
You got Devin Haney,
and then Teofimo. So you got four young boys.
Teofimo, Teofimo, and we're gonna put Javante in that list as the fourth.
Where is Well, we're not even gonna talk about Gary Russell right now until he defines his division.
Right. He has to, like you said, define his division.
Yeah.
Who's the okay? So I was saying this media protection or these media projections of who's the best determines who's going to get the most money. Who's going to get most money? Now, in order again for the promoter to get a return on his investment, I just said that person has to sell. So who gets the most people in seats? Who gets the most pay-per-view or TV viewers? Right now, that's Tank. That's Tank. That's Tank. So when you go in negotiation with a person that earns more money, the person that earns more money should get more money. There should be no negotiation or there should be no pushback. But if I've lied to you and told you that the person that you're about to face is on your level financially, then everyone should expect for y'all to get 50-50 or that person to even get more than you. Now, Jay, if you went to that job and that dude, you had a 4.0, 4.5, and you graduated valedictorian at Clark, and this dude come out of Ohio State University, and he has a 3.0 average. He wasn't in top 1,000 at his school. And they say they're going to pay that guy equal to you or pay him more than you. Are you going to take that job?
No, but I've actually had a situation like that where I got hired for a position, and the guy that came maybe 2 weeks after me, I'm not sure why he said this, but he said exactly what he was getting paid, and it was like it wasn't a dollar more than me. It was probably like maybe 75 cents or something like that. But it of course added up. So I strategically talked to management a little while later, and they end up bumping me up maybe even probably 25 cents above where he was at, just because of my experience
Right.
and the fact that this is this dude's first job. I've been working since I was 15, so there was no excuse for what just happened. But that's basically what's happening in the fight game.
That's basically what's happening in the fight game. And it's always been happening. But me and you watch boxing. Me and you watch the interviews. Me and you watch interviews from the fighters. We see the fighters talking to each other casually. We've done our research on the promoters, on the networks. We follow their trends, how they came into the industry, where they typically pay their fighters. What a good pay-per-view is, what a bad pay-per-view is. We've measured that against COVID level pay-per-view expectations and COVID level pay-per-view results. It all business-wise, it all makes sense. It's all predictable. The only people that don't get it are the people that don't do their research. The people that just want to listen to Max, listen to Teddy Atlas, listen to Larry Merchant, listen to Jim Lampley, listen to Paulie Malignaggi, listen to Timothy Bradley, listen to Timothy Bradley tell them what they think the truth is. You work on a network. Ain't nobody paying me, so I have no rhyme or reason. Ain't nobody paying Jay for this. We have no rhyme or reason to pick one person over another. I want to see go ahead.
And the difference in era, because I was just thinking about even when you talk just general sports analysis right now, compared to, I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to go back to the Howard Cosell. We really could do that as far as professionalism. You know what I mean? Not even necessarily being 100% objective, but having a level of respect for the opposition or for whoever you're interviewing. Now, let's say you go back to the 90s, somebody like a Stuart Scott. You know what I mean? Talk to everybody the same way. Give the respect to everybody. Even if he says, "I want this person to win," he gives the same energy to both parties. but you don't get that type of stuff on First Take. You don't get that type of stuff on, with definitely not with no Skip Bayless. You feel me? So that type of journalism is damn near dead. You know what I mean? You get more clickbait and dishonesty than you get professionalism and real straightforward. This is what's happening, and what is actually happening is entertaining enough. We don't need to put all this BS and make it a shitstorm when it has no need to be. People like seeing other people get punched in the face. That's good enough. It's good enough.
You're right. Speaking of which, when you tell a lie, the lie becomes harder because you got to keep up with it. You lied to boxing fans a long time ago that Mayer was based on some false pretense that you made up. So you have to keep following that up. That's why they have to make news instead of just letting them fight. If you told them from the very beginning, this sport is about getting hit and not getting hit, and that the best dudes are the best at doing that or making it look easy, you would have more viewership because people would be looking for authenticity instead of looking for these made up stories you conjured up. The sport goes back up and down. I sent you something today in our crew today. It went over the fact that boxing was fading right before Mayweather became the pound-for-pound champion, and that he's the one that brought it back. Oscar De La Hoya lost. Floyd Jones Jr. got knocked the hell out. Mike Tyson was on a decline. He was on a decline a long time ago. People forget Evander Holyfield roughed them all the way up.
Yeah, the biggest reason for that decline was the decline of the heavyweight division. That was the first time in a long time that we really didn't have a definitive monster on top. And so Floyd was the biggest draw in every division and the person that we wanted to see the most. And to be perfectly honest, I don't see how you could argue that Floyd wasn't pound for pound number one his entire career.
Almost his entire career.
If you consider that nobody really was close, like who was really that close other than Castillo? That's not it.
Who close? Right. Who was close to beating the level of competition on a consistent basis that he was? He asked for Costa Zoo. He asked for Miguel Cotto. He asked for Casamayor. He asked for Oscar De La Hoya when he weighed only 130 pounds, when Oscar De La Hoya was at 147 and 154. The same things you saying that or the people from Top Rank or the people from The Zone or Devin Haney doing or Gary Russell Jr. doing, Floyd was doing at 130 pounds, calling out people 154 pounds, saying he was ready the next day. Anytime he got an interview, anytime he got a chance to get in front of a microphone, he just went down the list. I want to fight. I want to fight. I want to fight. And who were we watching? We were watching Mike Tyson go to jail and get beat up by Buster Douglas. We were watching Roy Jones fight a whole bunch of cab drivers. Nothing against Roy Jones. There was no one in the weight classes. He was fighting a whole bunch of cab drivers. We were watching. Go ahead.
And I just definitely don't want to lose this. I was just thinking, Floyd is making it possible for Gervonta's fan base to grow and for your affinity for him to grow without you having to hate him. Because all of that type of energy is going straight to Mayweather. No chaser. It's going all to him. And so everything else that you're noticing is Gervonta in the background, being soft-spoken, getting better with how he interacts with the media, getting better with his conditioning, getting better with his professionalism, getting better with his temperament. You know what I mean? He's giving him that cushion to catch up to right where he wants him to be, and then he's going to pull back. Or maybe he never needs to, because it's enough people that hate Mayweather where that might just be the norm. Give it all to me, I'll take it all. And that might be his formula for how he does the rest of his, A1 type of fighters under his banner. Just give all the scrutiny to me, leave my fighter alone, and we're gonna be number one pound for pound either way.
That's what Bob Arum does. That's what Eddie Hearn does. That's what Oscar De La Hoya did.
True, it's just that nobody really has let me rephrase that. It's not a well-known hate for Bob Arum. It's just some people disagree with him, some people, agree. Now with Eddie Hearn makes himself look like a clown and makes himself more in the media than he really even needs to be. Like his method of promoting is trash anyway, so I'm not sure why he's even seen like that. Focus on media, focus on fighter stuff, and let the rest be the rest. That's why we don't even know what the Zone is doing right now.
Right. First time I saw him, I thought he was a stockbroker or something. I didn't know he was promoting. I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he was going to file some papers or something. I thought he was the promoter's son, or her
He
son came
was.
from college.
He was,
Right.
and I like how his dad get down. His dad is a little bit more low key with it, and I think he's been turning up since his son has kind of been a little bit more in the eye, and really just being around more vocal fighters like the David Hayes and the Chisoras. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna kind of have to be vocal in order not to be drowned out by that presence. You know what I mean? But it's just interesting how they move individually, and I looking at the progression from or the transition really from Floyd as a fighter to a promoter, and then watching him take his baby steps to getting better. That is interesting, especially having the star that he has right now, and it seems to be working. If he makes weight, if he does not look drained or cardio is
Wait
compromised in any
tomorrow.
way, we good to go. That means you did everything that you were supposed to do, and whether you win or not is based upon what you already had. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Where is tomorrow? But to capsulate just about everything I said, again, a lot of people that don't like Floyd, again, I don't, as far as his personality is concerned, I'm not with it. But again, I think his personality or the way he is now is a product of how he was treated in this boxing industry as like a stepchild. Although he had the best skills and proved to have the best skills in the sport for 20 years.
if
For
that's what
20
we talk,
years.
if we go in that direction, I put him in the same category as we put child celebrities and Michael Jackson in. If Michael Jackson was in the living room doing back spins and all and dipping the microphone, and Joe Jackson was right on him, that's what Floyd Senior was doing to Floyd Junior. You know what I'm saying? So we need to put him in that light if we're gonna discuss it like this. This is literally all this kid know, and now he's getting to branch out. Now he's getting to express himself. Now he's getting to live. And that's really why we didn't see him for the first 2 years, because this is his first vacation for real, for real. You know what I mean? So
You mean
it's
Floyd not
like
uh
after he retired, he kind of just was, he was all over the world. I'm going to Dubai. I'm going over here. You know what I'm saying? That's the first time he didn't have to. He didn't have a direct need to come back. You know what I'm saying? And so now with him being in camp with Tank, it's like that has kind of reinvigorated something, and he seems more focused. You know what I'm saying?
he's more focused. I mean, and they're coming at a spider, but they're using the same tactics. And he had already built Tank's career in a way that it shouldn't be affected by these tactics. But yet again, he sees they're trying it. So y'all are steady again. So going back, Floyd was never the guy to duck your favorite fighter, whoever your favorite fighter was. I don't know what was your favorite fighter because they all lost in embarrassing fashion. Cotto lost embarrassingly. They said just like the Tank thing, they're going to bring up fighters that they feel that are good, or the fact that Max Kellerman said Santa Cruz is not a guy that when I look at him jumps out at the screen or has these quick twitch fibers that make me say, I want to see you fight him. Nor was Margarito. Why did you want him to fight Margarito? It's the same thing. He's a slow Latino fighter that hits hard and does not have a lot of polish to him. But for some reason, you want me to fight him. Why? Because you want to see me lose. Because you do not want me to be the representation of the sport. You want to choose who that representation is going to be or who's going to represent the sport. And you want that person to shine. Although I'm doing all the hard work and I'm actually the one that's winning. But going back to that, I wanted to fight these people. The reason I couldn't fight them is because you lied about their value. And then when I went to fight them, they could say they don't have to fight me because they're so valuable. And then by the time I get valuable enough, and I don't want to fight people that are garbage of styles that I've already beat and I'm way wiser than or better than, you're going to bring up the fact that I haven't fought that style or I need more credibility. It's flip-flopping. So I have, like you said, I'm grooming Tank Davis to be a great fighter. He's knocking everybody out. He's young. I'm not going to lie to you and tell him he's something he's not. They asked Floyd who's the best fighter in the world. Did he say his fighter? No. If you ask Bob Arum who is best fighter, if Terrence Crawford is about to fight and you ask Bob Arum who the best fighter in the world is, he'll say Terrence Crawford. If Lomachenko is about to fight another week, the week after, and you ask him the same question, he's like Vasily Lomachenko. Floyd This fighter could be 70-0, and you ask him who the best fighter is, he might think about it. He might say Canelo Alvarez, or Terrence Crawford. He's telling you the truth. So if I'm telling you the truth about this man's career, he's not ducking anybody. I said he should fight this person next. Why? I said he should fight this person next. Did you ask Oscar De La Hoya why he fought Felix Sturm when he moved up to 160 pounds? Did you ask Manny Pacquiao why he went up to get a 154-pound belt from a guy that weighed 150 and never fought nobody at the weight class after he already got knocked out by Shane Mosley? Did you ask him that? No, you didn't ask him that. So why are you asking my fighter this? Because at the end of this interview, I'm gonna tell you this: you're not taking nothing away from us. Then that's when Stephen was like, start laughing. y'all done pissed him off now. Y'all want to play these games with him. Y'all remember how he was toasting up Brian Kenny.
And that's where I was going with it. This is the best interview, okay, from two different perspectives, as far as being entertaining and seeing Floyd's progression just being in an interview setting. It was just good to see him have ring generalship of the interview the whole time. It didn't matter what they fired, he had the answer. Nope. You're not about to overtalk me. This is what I said. And that's it. And that's it.
Well, our fights, ESPN, Teofimo Lopez is on a similar level as Tank Davis. We do no. On Fox, we doing 4 million views. We doing 5 million views. Y'all ain't doing no views like that on ESPN. And I don't need to talk about our views on Fox because we already know they good. You trying to set something up that ain't true. Y'all been talking about it all week, but guess who you got on the mic today? It ain't happening today. And you gonna watch this?
Ooh, you know who mad? The executive producer, because this dude said every.
That's how Brian Kenny got fired.
He said every network but ESPN. Boy, I know they mad as hell in the boardroom. Oh man! But what you gonna do? Tell Floyd he's not coming back?
Right. Oh yeah, that's what you're not gonna do. That's what hey, remember that time? Max Kellerman came in the ring with Floyd after the Juan Manuel Marquez fight, and then Shane Mosley, little goofy ass, gonna come in the ring. And was like, Floyd, let's get this on. Rewind number 1. I asked you to fight when I was 130 pounds, and you said you didn't want to fight me because you had a toothache. You said Floyd should fight other people at his weight class and come up. I don't want to fight you after you done lost to 5 people, after you knocked out slow ass Antonio Margarito, who had plaster in his hands when he beat Cotto. You knocked him out and you want to walk in the ring with me. But when I did that to you, you didn't want to show me no respect. So number 1, you're going to give me my respect as a man. Number 2, Max going to come in there and talk about something. Well, I thought that would get your attention. You ain't running none of this. Again, you're trying to write a story that don't need to be written. Like you said, the sport will take care of itself. He took the mic and said, I'm going to do the talking because you talk too much. You don't know what you're talking about. You trying me. I've been nice to you, Max. You've been lying on me pretty much my whole career. You came up to me and talked some shit to me about fighting Arturo Gatti at 140 pounds because he had all the money. You didn't mention that Costa Tszyu wouldn't fight me. You didn't mention that they wouldn't put Ricky Hatton in the ring with me. You didn't mention that they wouldn't put Cotto in the ring with me. You said I was fighting a paper champion. So again, I asked to have these fights, and I fought Arturo Gatti. When Terrence Crawford couldn't fight Errol Spence, when he couldn't fight Keith Thurman, when he couldn't fight Sean Porter because they said they was with PBC, you said Terrence Crawford is the number 1 pound for pound. These guys don't want to fight him. When Floyd was in the same situation, you came in the ring with Shane Mosley. You said, I thought that would get your attention. You said he was a paper champion at 140 pounds. So like Floyd would say, which one is it? It's biased. He called you out for being biased. He the only dude that know enough about the background and is smart enough to actually follow the steps to keep himself successful. Because it don't matter what you say. It don't matter what Shane Mosley say, what Bernard Hopkins say, what Oscar De La Hoya say to prove a point if you don't keep winning. And that's why they stopped. They wouldn't talk about the politics of the sport because they needed the politics on their side. They said Oscar De La Hoya fought everybody. They said Muhammad Ali fought everybody. They said a lot of people fought everybody. Guess when they start fighting everybody? After they lost and they had to. Because before they lost, you don't know nobody they fought.
Right.
You don't know nobody they fought. Shane Mosley got to fight everybody after he get busted about Wiki Wright, and then busted out by Vernon Forrest, and then busted up by Miguel Cotto, and then beat up by Floyd, and then beat up by Pacquiao.
If you're not a for real boxing fan, you don't know who Ike Corte is for
You
real.
don't know Ike Corte. You don't know about the Obakar.
You don't know about no Jerry Quarry. You don't know nothing about none of that.
You don't know about these dudes. You don't know about these dudes. Somebody record. You don't know who you don't know who Canelo fought to get to 50-0.
Man,
Canelo was like 21 years old and had the same record as Floyd when he fought him.
Dude was in Tijuana getting busy. You hear me? Getting busy
Same
for like 3 years.
Same thing with Pacquiao. Y'all don't know these dudes you're fighting. Stop. Don't argue with me about a fighter you don't even know about him. You don't know nothing about him. You don't know who he fought. You liked him on TV. Tell me you like him. Just tell me you like him. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. ESPN gonna mess around and end up like HBO if they keep faking the funk. Because what's gonna happen is they're gonna overhype Teofimo. He gonna lose. Let's go down the list of people they overhyped in the recent history that lost embarrassingly. Manny Pacquiao, knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez, and embarrassed in Floyd. Y'all said the fight was boring. Chocolatito, I don't know who he fought. I don't even know who he lost to. Fell off the map. Lomachenko, same thing. You don't know who he fought until he fought Teofimo Lopez. He lost. Don't nobody care about him at all. We had 240 views on the pre-fight conversation about Lomachenko and about 30 comments about people cussing me out, talking about I don't know nothing about boxing. And then we got 30 views on the recap. I'm going to find them dudes. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find them dudes today.
Where's the smoke? The smoke.
It's the same thing. They do it. For some reason, they do it in basketball too. I like KD. He the best scorer in the game. He's 7 feet tall. But they weren't talking about none of that shit when he had Russell Westbrook, when he had James Harden, when he had Ibaka, when they was running through, they had beat Kobe and them in the playoffs. They was running through the West. They come play a D-Wade that's probably averaging 22 points in the playoffs, ain't the same dude. His team didn't even make it to the playoffs before LeBron got there. They get Bosh. They come through. They go toe-to-toe. They both young or young enough. LeBron a little older. He get muscled up. He's still scoring, but he get muscled up. They ain't say nothing when KD lost 3-1. Had a 3-1 lead against the Warriors and lost to them and was getting buckets. I think that's when Klay Thompson had like a 20-something point quarter and a half, busting them up. Then he gonna lead that team and go to the team that beat him that has 73 wins, more than the Bulls. And they want to get hyped up. I don't want, no. LeBron was playing in Cleveland, and because the East was so tired of him, they done put Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, who already had a goddamn movie, and KG on a team together. And it took them several games to beat him in playoffs. They didn't sweep him. They had to work for that. He didn't create this. He didn't go to the team that beat him. He said, you got 3, I'm going to get 3. KD said, you got 2 other dudes, I'm going to get 8. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get Iguodala. I'm going to get Klay Thompson. I'm going to get Curry. I'm going to get Draymond Green. I'm going to get Steve. I'm going to get everybody.
You know who he strikes me as?
What?
And I knew this. I kind of knew this before, just as soon as I kind of
Tariq Power.
Not even that. I wasn't even gonna go that far, but he's just the type that would be okay with not shooting a fair one. You know what I'm saying? Jumping in and hitting you with one of the
Ain't no fair one.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no fair one.
Looking at LeBron and the type of man that he is and how he moves, you know he'll shoot the fair one with you. Like,
and this bathroom action. This bathroom action.
All right, let's go.
This bathroom action. We ain't talking to nobody. This straight bathroom action. I don't even want nobody there. I'm gonna finish you, and I ain't gonna tell nobody I did this to you. I just want to come back out here and you know what's up. You need to know what's up. But back to the Floyd thing, man, because I just had to get this out here. Again, the interview, we already know the interview gonna get ratings. We're gonna know Gervonta Davis gonna get ratings. Guys, if you want to see your favorite fighter fight somebody, or if you want to see your favorite fighter get a fight with another fighter, first stop the BS. Stop making up rumors and hyping them up more than they are, because it's gonna mess up negotiations. If I deserve more money than you, you need to start by giving me my money. That's what you need to do. You can get to my level by beating me. Floyd moved up to fight Oscar De La Hoya, got $10 or $20 million for that fight. I just watched the thing. He wanted to fight Oscar De La Hoya for $20 million, and Bob Arum said he can give him $10 million. He left Bob Arum and got $20 million in that fight, proving he could have got that money all along. And the reason he couldn't get that fight is because Bob Arum. Bob Arum doesn't see these black fighters, and I don't think it's a racist thing. I think he's looking at our demographic and people not sticking together, and looking at the Mike Tysons of the world, looking at the Bernard Hopkins of the world, looking at the Roy Jones Jr.'s of the world, and seeing they pay-per-view numbers wouldn't like this. They wouldn't Floyd.
Right.
Some of their skill set or some of their lore was hype. This was all work. You had guaranteed, it was pretty much guaranteed buckets. It was box office, because you had to do this as a guaranteed win. And it's going to make it look easy. So all you got to do is tell people like, look, come, it's going to be magical. I'm going to put him up against the coldest dude out there, and he going to make him look stupid. People can come to see that.
Yeah.
Harlem Globetrotters ain't no real game. People go watch that just for entertainment. People getting embarrassed. He's embarrassing people, doing the same things they're supposed to be doing. For some reason, he's doing it in damn near the fourth dimension. He ain't way faster than everybody. He don't hit harder than everybody. He don't seem like he got the best technique everywhere. He's just embarrassing them. Why? Why? They're not going to let you do that anymore, or we're not going to let you do that as fans. We're not going to let you make up false narratives. We're not going to let you lead the sport. We're not going to let you lie on this sport and then tell lies about UFC, because you see UFC falling off as more and more of their champions are meeting same level competition, and they're not staying champions as long. They're not staying as champions as long.
Their turnover on the belt is crazy, and it's almost interesting. Like, it's kind of interesting how they kind of shot themselves in the foot with the John Jones thing. Whether that was, VADA coming out with the test results, or them kind of leaking it or whatever. It's like, why would you throw a monkey wrench in your longest reigning champion, your most dominant champion you've ever had, unless you don't want to see that image up here?
Right.
And then right after that, who were they pushing? They were pushing, what's your girl that was getting knocked smooth out?
Ronda Rousey?
Ronda Rousey.
That's Chocolate Tito. That's Vasily Lomachenko. That's Manny Pacquiao. Yep.
That's probably the worst hype job of all time. By the way she got knocked out by not only Holly Holm.
That's the worst hype job of all time.
It gotta be.
That's the worst hype job of all time. That's the worst hype job.
Her stand-up game was the most laughable I've ever seen in a championship level fight. It was disrespectful to the sport. It was disrespectful to her opponent, and it was disrespectful to boxing for you to even compare this bullshit.
They were saying on ESPN, they had conversations of First Take about her possibly being able to beat Floyd in the fight. Y'all intentionally being disrespectful. I'm gonna stop right there, because I'm gonna stop. It's gonna piss me off. It's gonna piss me off. This is information session. This is an information session. If you want to learn about like how the business is ran in the sport of boxing, it's similar to how I'm starting to see a lot of black Trump supporters saying he's a good businessman, but you don't know about none of his business ventures. You don't know about any. You don't look at the fact that just about everybody in his chief of staff or people he appointed got fired or in legal situations. You don't even look at details. Somebody can just put a title up and you're going to go by it and say, oh yeah, I'm going with him. It says right there, he is a businessman and I am in favor of business. Ain't nothing been popping for you. Every job you've been getting as a black person in this country in the last 4 years has been because of your effort, because you know somebody. When did you see somebody come to you and give you a job that just came up out of nowhere, some new plant, Amazon or anything that came as a result of some policy he passed? You can't say it because it didn't happen. There's been no commerce or increase in commerce or increase in jobs or your ability to keep your lights on or pay your rent as a result of something he did. Stop it. Stop it. Y'all not reading. Y'all haven't been reading. I'm not taking advice from somebody who got C's in gym or C's in health, who I went to school with. That's who y'all are. Y'all a whole bunch of people that was spelling health, that had D's in reading, and stuff like that. All of a sudden, you doing research online, and I'm supposed to be listening to you. You were remedial. You was on a slow bus, and we didn't cap on you back then. We let it go. But all of a sudden, you want me to listen to you. Can you hoop better than me? Can you fix a car better than me? Probably. But you're not about to give me no advice on nothing. Got to do nothing with financial or protecting my family, nothing like that. I'm gonna just end it on that. Man, you got something else to say? Because it's pissing me off, bro.
No, we out. Because anything else we say, we're going to just keep capitalizing.
We're going to keep going. This is an information session. We are going to do a pre-fight video on the Gervonta Tank Davis Santa Cruz fight. We're going to do a post-fight video on the Gervonta Tank Davis Santa Cruz fight. The weigh-in is tomorrow. Have fun this weekend. Look forward to the fights. Renaissance, we out. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share.